Okay, welcome everyone. This Monday, we are going to be doing flies that work for us at Bennett. As you all know, we are heading out to Bennett. Some of us will be there starting as of Wednesday, but we have our Project Healing Water regional casting event scheduled for Thursday. I know weatherman's saying rain on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday from what I saw. So we'll find a day somewhere in there to do it. We'll have fun regardless. And then Saturday will be the Vets. We got one other person. Vets Fish Free at Bennett. And so we will be hosting a nice little tent area, and we'll be handouts there as well. So I don't know who wants to start. Jim, I know you sent out a letter. Do you want to start us off with the Crackleback, or you have...
Sure, I'd be more than happy to.
All right, go ahead, start.
Okay.
I'm going to pin you and then go for it.
And okay, so I'm going to do the Crackleback. This is a Crackleback right here. Crackleback was first originated back in 1952 by a man named Ed Story. And he's well known around here, or he was well known around here. He started and ran one of St. Louis's two premier fly shops, Feathercraft. And if you're not from around here, but Feathercraft rings a bell, that's the same Feathercraft that has a booming catalog business that advertises in practically every fishing publication. So it is a dry fly, and Ed would describe it as a dry woolly. As you look at it, basically the body is the same as the front end of a woolly booger or a woolly worm. It's just, you have a body and then you have palmered hackle. And it's a great searching pattern because it can be fished dry, it can be fished wet, and it can be fished dry and wet on the very same cast. So I'll get into that later, but I learned to tie this at Feathercraft back in the mid 90s. And so I'm gonna try to go with what I remember, as original as possible. And just like woolly boogers, there is just no end to how many variations and different materials and different colors and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great fly. As a matter of fact, Ed liked it so much, he incorporated it into the logo of his company. And if I have the story right, that logo was designed and drawn by a man named Chuck Witcher, which is Amy Milne's dad. So there's a lot of local connection to the Crackleback. So anyway, so I am going to tie with, I'm going to start with a size 12 1X long dry fly hook. It's already debarbed. So, I mean, this is a Dairiki 300, but they don't make these anymore, so you can't buy them. But basically, it's a 1X long. I tie them in 12s, 14s, and 16s. But if you were going to tie them on a standard hook rather than a 1X long, I would tie basically the same sizes in 10, 12s, and 14s. Because remember, a 1X long means your hook is as long as the next size up. Then my thread, I'm going to use 70 denier ultra thread. but I would just as often use 8/0 Unithread. Now I use black, but a lot of people will use brown. And for the hackle, I am going to use furnace hackle. So furnace hackle is the hackle that's got a this black in the middle and it's got brown edges there. So I'm going to take my hackle feather. Come on, where to go? Here we go. And I'm going to prepare it by stripping some of the fibers off. So I'll leave about maybe 3/16 of an inch of a bare stem. And then I want to tie it in with the dull side facing me. So I got to turn it over here. I'm going to tie that in the back. Come on. Hey.
Too many eyes on you, Jim.
Yeah, I even put the magnifiers on. I still couldn't see that. Then I'm going to tie on 2 pieces of peacock herl. Now, when I use a fresh piece of peacock herl, I tie it in by the tip end, though I don't know that it makes any difference. And I'll always cut off the first 1.5 inches of peacock herl just because it's so fragile and brittle that it has a tendency to break. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that in. And then I'm going to use light Cahill, which is basically a cream colored super fine dubbing. So this is just a standard dry fly dubbing. And I would say probably the 3 most common colors to tie the original crackle back in would be light Cahill, which I say that's like a cream color, or light yellow, or light olive. Put a noodle on here about 2 inches long. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that forward. Just like a woolly booger, if you're taking your chenille, you just want to cover the entire shank.
Did you put any wax on the thread?
No, if I was tying, like a very coarse, like maybe even hare's ear or antron or something like that, I would probably put on some kind of a dubbing wax or something like that. But this super fine just goes on so easily. I don't even mess with it. But you can if you want. And then I'm going to take the peacock fibers and I'm going to pull them forward. I'm going to keep a little tension on them when I tie them off. And that's just because when I wrap the hackle forward, if they're loose, they'll have a tendency to fall off on the side. And, if that happens, the fish just won't bite anymore. So you got to be real careful with that.
Those fish have gone to school for sure.
That's right. Okay, I'll give it a little half hitch here. Put the thread on the cradle. Grab my hackle. And so the first time around, I just want to avoid hitting that the point of the hook and breaking my feather. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5.5 here. So this is something that, you know, how full you tie it is strictly personal preference. Ed Story always recommended between 5 and 6 turns. I've seen these things tied just very full, but in a little while, I'll go into why I like the crackleback to be a little more sparse. Do a whip finish here. And then just cut the thread. And as you'll see, I'll use my scissors as a knife rather than getting in there with a point and cutting things. Otherwise, I'm going to be cutting some of those barbels off. So, I mean, that's it. That is all there is to it. It's so easy. And like I say, there's just no end of the variations. Another type that I tie very often is use a holographic tinsel body. And I don't even put a back on it. It's just tinsel and hackle. And
Those work great.
you know, and like I say, there's just no bad way to tie it. So the reason that I like to keep mine rather sparse is, like I say, you can fish this like a dry fly, and you can fish this as a wet fly also. And if you put, the more hackle you put on there, the better it's going to be for a dry fly, but the worse it's going to be for a wet fly. And the way I usually fish it is I will throw it in the current just like you would a dry fly, let it float down at a dead drift. And now I kind of change over to tactics of like wet flies or soft hackles. And I let the line tighten up, and then I will give it a good quick strip, probably 8 inches a foot or whatever. And that will help bring that right under the surface of the water. So now it's no longer a dry fly. Now it's more like an emerger, something like a soft hackle or even, a standard emerger fly. So it's right below the surface of the water. And then I start stripping it back like a streamer. So there's, you got 3 different techniques all in one cast. And I would say at least 70% of the time, I'm catching fish when the fly is under the surface rather than on top. But that just might be my techniques and what have you. So if you're ever wondered about why it's called a crackleback, there used to be a bass lure for spin fishing that was called a crackleback, and it was a minnow imitation. They would paint it cream colored, and then they would paint a dark green, kind of blackish back on it with what's called crackle paint. And when it dries, the paint literally cracks and just leaves a very mottled appearance on it. And it was called the crackleback. And so when Ed made this, I guess, with a light body and the dark back, it reminded him of the crackleback. So there's the name of the crackleback, some history, and that's all there is to it.
Very nice, Jim.
Excellent.
Hey, Jim,
Yes, sir.
with the body itself, did they use turkey feathers on the body at one
You
time?
know what? They do. So like I say, you can tie it with just about anything. You can use like ultra chenille. You can, just do thread. You can do tinsel, but it's very common to use turkey feathers. I think they usually use turkey rounds. So I've tried some with, this is turkey biot, but it would be the same process. You would cut off like, 5 or 6 different fibers like that. You tie it in by the tip and then just wrap that forward, and that would be your body. And one advantage of doing something like that rather than dubbing it, it's just quicker. I mean, if you have a rotary vise and you want to start pumping these things out every 3 to 5 minutes, use a turkey round and a rotary vise, and it's just one after another. They just get done so quickly.
Does the turkey fiber stay on the water better?
I don't think it really makes a whole lot of difference. I think what keeps it up on the water is the hackle, the palmered hackle. And again, that's why if you dress it very full, it's going to float much better than if you dress it sparse like this. So, I mean, if you thought you wanted to just fish it dry, I would make it very full.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks,
Anybody else have any questions? Sure.
I think one of the other things, Walt, you were asking also, there's a couple different ways you can go about that as far as with dubbing and hackle, and we tend to like overdo. You can also take them and use a watershed as far as, and then that gives that a little bit more repellent. You're still going to have to treat it with gink. If you're going to fish it as a true dry, you're going to have to treat it. So it's going to be one or the other form on that. But if you're going to do like Jim was talking about is, yeah, let it swing down, stripping it back, and it's subsurface because it's such a light fly. So it's not going to sink to the bottom. It's still going to be, 6, 8 inches maybe down, but, or it might be an inch down. But anyway, it's not, if you want it all the way dry, you have to do a little bit extra work, not just in the material wise, but just treating it with a gink or again, a watershed or something like that. But
I've used
good
it
question on
sometimes
that.
with a sinking leader on it, to really get it down, and we've had success taking it down.
It's
And,
very
and,
good.
and split shot, don't forget split shot.
Yeah.
No. All right,
Maybe
who's up
good.
next?
I'll go next, but I'll just add on that it's a really good fly for Bennett for sure. They even had the Bennett Blue, which is blue holographic portion kind of it. Last time I was there, I was in zone 1 in an area I really like. There, I had the place for myself for at least an hour, and then 4 gentlemen came up. And every time they would hook into fish, they'd yell out what they were using. And it was one of them catching the majority of the fish. And every time it was crackleback, crackleback, crackleback. And so that is a very good fly out there if you go out to Bennett. It works wonders out there. And like Jim said, started off as a dry, and through the end of the drift, start stripping it in. And that's what this gentleman was doing quite well.
Hey, Mick,
There's been many days out at Lane Springs where the crackleback was the fly to fish. So it's good anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great fly.
I guess I have to
Usually
tie.
it's-
I'm also going to bring my latest Tenkara fly too.
Fly.
Well, and the other thing too, I think as far as it's a good fly, so cracklebacks and like John just showed on a mop fly, that's a good place for your little scrap box, right? Because you have all these little pieces that you don't have enough to tie a full fly with. But it is something where cracklebacks, you can go down to the very small renegades. I mean, everything kind of pairs off of the next, but Griffin gnats, so you're kind of building on the same process on that. But it is something where you can keep these little tiny pieces that you kind of don't have a use for, and you're like, well, it's too good to pitch, we can't throw it away. Those are really good. Save those for your crackleback pile.
For sure. All right, I guess I'll go next. I'll try to pin myself, so we save this. Okay, I've been looking at the Weaver's fishing report, and a lot that I've seen lately, the high water is black and yellow marabou, black and yellow marabou. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have a couple of different designs of it right now where, I don't know if you guys, oop, I gotta change my camera over, sorry. You're like, what are you talking about? Much better. And as Roger and I were laughing, unfortunately, I put on a black t-shirt, so now you're gonna get paper towel on my shoulder, like if I'm gonna burp a baby or something. But here is a black and yellow. They're on a smaller size, they're a woolly, but just a couple inches, yellow here, a green and yellow, and sometimes all green, which a lot with the green and yellow. I have the yellow head, but you'll hear people at Genix say, or Bennett, a John Deere fly. So those colors of the olive and yellow work as well. And then as well as the white. And I did this one as well. Again, this kind of more represents what I guess they call offal, which is at Bennett, you clean your fish at the stream and people throw the guts in, and white tends to be a popular color during that time. So even with this one, use a chenille for a body, but this one is, I still have a stack. If you could see these are the elastic bands off those awful masks that we were stuck wearing with for 2 years with COVID. So if you still have some of the masks, they make good white chenille with a little elastic to it. So just something to think about. So, all right, I'll start with this. I will do the black and yellow marabou. I got these jig hooks from Cabela's. They're weighted. Looking to see, it looks like 1/64 ounce. Right now, I'm even going to add a little lead to it to get it down, because right now it sounds like Bennett is kind of high and the waters are flowing fast. So I'm going to add, get that, some lead wire to that. So quick cut. I tried to snap that off, but it just didn't want to work with me. So I'll kind of pinch that all together, get that towards the head. Any thread will do, but I've been very happy with this nano silk. So I will continue to use that right now. And I will just start a thread wrap behind. Just kind of build up the body. With the nano thread, good scissors do help, because it's not nano silk, it's actually ground spun GSP polypropylene. So you could actually, even though it's very thin, you can actually spin deer here with this. So now I'm just kind of putting some wraps through the lid. Just, you don't have to actually cover it. The chenille will do good with that, but just wanted to kind of lock it in place. Okay, there we go. The next, what I will do is I am now going to try the Ultra Chenille Micro Black. And I've just got a little section of it. I will just cut with that. And I will tie that in place. I'm just trying to secure it in. If I hold it up, it will get towards good to the bend, and I'm just locking it in so it doesn't want to spin on me, and I'll put that to the side. Now I have yellow marabou and black. Again, like we've discussed, if you're able to look through it, making sure you get, good fluffy parts of the tail. With this being more of like a micro bugger, if you want to say, if you actually get several flies off this, I just kind of pull some fibers off it. And then I will clean that up a little bit with the scissors. Now I will tie in the black first. I kind of keep this a little bit, again, raised to keep a good tail. I will not keep it that long, as you see. I'm getting a lot of good wraps in there to lock it in. I'll just make it a little bit easy. And again, like Amy had stated before, try not to cut it. It looks like that new haircut. Make it look a little buggy ragged by just pulling on it. Now I will do the same with the yellow, where I'll get some fibers. And add now some yellow to the mix. Kind of really cinching this down hard. Make sure I lock it all in. And getting some of the straggler out there. So there that is. I'm going to get rid of some of the length in that, but I don't know if you can kind of see it's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to do a quick half hitch at the head, which is kind of like the save feature of a fly. And I will now use my rotary device to put the body in. I'm just going to do touching wraps. Cut off a little bit there. That looks good. So right up to the jig head. And now I'm going to lock that in. Things you can do to add to this if you wanted, since we might see some murky water in Bennett, you could add some crystal flash if you want. That might kind of help a little bit. I'm just going to do a couple quick whip finishes and we'll call this good. And so there you go. There is a black and yellow marabou, depending on which way you're looking at it. You get a good mix of the color on that. Now, the way this would do very well on Saturday when we're in zone 2, if you can, I know it's tough to get across the stream, but if you could get it close to the tree line on the other side, what I normally like doing is with an airlock indicator like this, I always start about 3 feet or a little bit longer for me, where I've stated before, where when I try to put the airlock on, I'll put the jig, or actually the jig to my hand, outreach it, and then have the line and, you know, use that as a normal gauge on what the depth to set it for. And I will then fish this as a nymph under an indicator, and that will do quite well in zone 2, where the Vets Fish Free Day there, and it seems to be the big hit right now. I'll just add one quick thing to this, is what I do like to use after this is, you've heard hopper dropper, but I guess this would be dropper dropper. I do like to use very small, I've gone now to an 18, I'll put it right on the edge so you can kind of, I don't know if you could even see that. Again, I got sorry for a dark shirt. You could actually see there's a zebra midge that I do, size 18, so much smaller, but it seems to do very well. Now, trying to tie a size 18 as a dropper to this is very difficult while you're to stream. So Amy gave me a good indication where you have these cardboard tabs, and I have a bunch of these saved, where you actually will tie your tippet material to the midge, and then you leave yourself about 18 inches to 24 inches out, where then you did the hard part where you tie that to the midge. Now you have the straight part remaining to go to your whatever fly you want to use. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I saw that was pretty cool. I'm just flipping this around, so hopefully you could see this. And man, I'm going to do it with, I'm going to move this to the side, let my black shirt actually help on this. I got some backing yellow to kind of help demonstrate this. You can still kind of see the hook here. So let's say, you know, in my right hand, this is going to my midge, and I want to add a dropper to it. And you can see here's the end of my line right there. What you'll want to do is put a loop in it, just like that, no tag in or anything. Again, the longer part is just simulated to the rest of my, actually to the midge, and then I got this tag here. What you will do next is take your hemostats. Now I got dark hemostats, that doesn't help. But you will stick them into the loop is here, and all you do is you start making turns. And all you're doing is making turns, get about 5 of them in, and then with your hemostats, you're going to grab that tag end and then pull through. And now with that loop that you have, you could then put that to, if you wanted to go around the head or the hook, and you send it in. And then once it's on, you could just tag off the tag end. So if you wanted to add a very small dropper or additional fly, that would be the easy way to do it. And as you see, it's on, it's not going anywhere. So quick little thing, that's all I have. Any questions?
That's great advice. I don't like tying on droppers just because I find it difficult and annoying, but that looks like it would make it easy using your forceps to make a clinch knot like that. That's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder now. The eyes aren't as what they used to be. And even at a size 18 midge, I don't think anyone's eyes are that good to do it. So a quick addition to it. And again, say if you're using a barbless hook, these will slide right off. This is a barbed hook, and I always try to bend those down. You could always put it around the head of the bead head right behind, you know, where the thorax would be if you would tie it off, and it would lock in as well. So that's probably what I will be using. And if you see me, I'll have the black and yellow with midge hanging off at about 12 inches, and then the whole rig under an airlock indicator. So, any questions?
You like the 90-degree jig
Yeah, Mick,
hook
real quick.
rather than 60s?
Say again?
You like the 90-degree jig rather than the 60?
Either one work for me. I haven't had any issues with either. It's at times it comes down to what I could find, and this is Cabela's is on the way home, and basically I treat myself to Friday that, okay, another good work week, and I treat myself where I go to the fishing section and get some stuff and treat myself as, okay, you did another good work week. So
There you go.
that's what I do.
Good deal.
I think
Mick,
with
real quick
some of
question.
them. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm trying to get the marabou off me now from cutting. Okay, Amy.
I was gonna say, I think with a 90 or 60, it really, it's more of getting a feel for it, but I don't know in this setting, I don't know that it makes a whole lot of difference with how it drops in the water. Jim, I think if you were fishing it primarily and having that whole ride thing, you'd probably want the 60 over a 90. But like the balanced leech, yeah, you want a 90. But I think on something like this, if we're kind of hanging and we've got a little bit higher water, then I haven't seen a lot of difference either on that from what we fish.
Yeah.
Is the
But-
Bennett area that you fish, is that a stream?
Yes.
It's spring fed and it's over 1 million gallons a day, but it's at the bottom, so it gathers everything else. And then if the tributaries back up, then it comes up into that area, but it's spring fed. So it's 55 degrees all year.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so our water's open. It's just where it sits, but almost, I mean, we have a good amount of spring fed water here. So you can fish all year. It just depends on where all the other water is coming from. So right now it came down hard. We're done with it. We're way over it. You know, it's gonna be higher than usual.
Yes.
But what Mick was talking about, and we've done this before too. So what he was talking about, and like on a card, and you can use your old chenille cards too, but they're the old Snells, right? So I love foam core for this because you can actually take your fly and then attach it to the top. So you got your leader coming in, notch your foam core and come around and just make your loop. Just take a little bit of tape and it'll hang on there. You can shove it in a vest, you can shove it in, and all of them are stuck up in the foam. And so all you're doing is tying on this, then with your attached leader, you're tying that then to your hopper dropper on that. And I'll switch over my camera. Sorry, I didn't realize I was on the wrong. I kind of did and kind of didn't.
It worked.
But these are great because foam core, I mean, everybody, or go to the dollar store. This is way exaggerated. But again, and you can go straight into the foam core, or you can go on the top section of it. And then you can come through. You can just cut it with just a blade, right? So if I were taking through and I want to just run my line, and you can run it all the way around, run it again, so that you can keep everything kind of straight. I've seen where people have like ruler marks on here. You can make notches in this. Foam core is very forgiving. You can beat the heck out of it, but it's still going to work for what you need it. Pre-Snell, right? So get everything kind of set up on a card, and then you're good to go. And it's much easier when you're on the water, when your hands are cold and everything else, just to kind of run those off. And again, fits right in a vest. And if you want to, you can use your old dubbing bags, make it the size, and then you have everything kind of good to go. The idea is kind of keeping it clean, because we've all done that where you're trying to hook one fly and yeah, hands and shaky and cold and everything. So I use a lot of the cards and them in different variations. Depends on how fast I need to change out. If I'm out there all day and I don't care, I'll take an hour tying on a fly. Doesn't matter. I'm out there in the middle of the stream. But other times when you're just trying to switch it up and do some different things too, sometimes these cards are a little bit easier to work with. The chenille, what Mick was holding up to, so those cardboard wraps, I think these things were made for this, right? They're just made for it. You can look at this. We've all got the mind where we're like, oh, I could notch this and then I could run it and then I could do, and then you just take a regular Scotch tape, right? And that way you can just kind of peel it back. And then you just take the one you need and then put it back over and it'll stay. I've used some waterproof. I've used medical tape before and it's kind of worked too. So that was
Amy, cut your foam core with pinking shears.
I have that. This was like an on the grab because I really didn't, it was unprompted and I didn't know Mick was going there. But yes, pinking shears are great. You can usually find those at the dollar store or especially around when kids are going back to school. Look at Walmart. You'll find them there. You shouldn't don't go buy the fancy sewing kind. I mean, we're just doing our fishing thing. So don't go buy the fancy stuff. This is just to get stuff prepped. Unlike your other scissors, go spend money on those for your fly time material. But all right, I don't know who else I've seen. Carl's tying like crazy over there.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or do you guys want to see the torture of what I'll be fishing for all the, with Mick, with, oh, it's high water, it's everything else. You guys wouldn't know what I'll be on, right? I'll be on dries.
Yeah, Caddis.
So anyway, one of my favorites, and I'll just do this one real quick. You guys have seen it before. It's a Yellow Sally, and it's a caddis variation on this. I've already gone on and put on a little bit of red under here, kind of speed it up. It's this, and I kept the legs long for right now. When I'm on the water, it's nothing to just pinch off what I need. But it's a caddis body style, and underneath has the red and then very much a yellow variation on here. This is my most productive fly that I've probably ever fished. And what's funny is we started out with the crackleback. Yep, that's my claim to fame. My dad did the logo for Feathercraft. And it took me probably 3 years to catch a fish on a crackleback, by the way. So I wasn't so impressed. I couldn't really figure out what the appeal was, but now I'm all in. I believe it. But I laid down this red on the back, and you can build this up. This one's a pretty heavy. This is a Danville 210 denier. And so what I want on this fly specifically is, again, I always talk about shape. All right. So I've laid this on the back, started here, laid it on there. And now I'm going to go to a bright fluorescent, same pretty much as far as color thread. You can use anything. And if you want to go with more of a wax, the fact that I'm putting on right now, that I'll be adding in deer hair on this, I want something that I know is not going to give me a fit as far as spinning in a different direction. So I'm going to come on here, I'm going to lay that on, come in, cut off my tag. And with this part of it, I actually like to go back on that bump a little bit. And I'm going to create a very drastic, these are really fun to do in like a red and a black where you can just see that line on your thread. I'm building that up, but I'm going to leave this portion of it where as I lay in on the deer hair, because I want to cinch that as close as I can to the hook shank. And so I only want a thin layer on that. I'm only going to come up once, I'm going to pass back and be kind of about at least one eye back. And then this is just straight up caddis, just style. I've done this multiple different times as far as I've got my deer hair on this, my favorite to work with. Gonna grab a pinch of it. And this is only trial and error, honestly, as far as trying to figure out, everybody can tell you as far as pencil size or anything else. But I've got a chunk, got it in my hands. I'm gonna fan that out and grab out And this is one I've already well treated, well brushed. And now I'm going to drop it in my stacker, make the obnoxious noise. Should have had some of those done. Take it out of the stacker and all the tips are lined up. Come in with one pinch. And at this stage right now, this is not a very big fly. So what I want to do is measure, because everything's about proportion as well. So I want to measure and I want to make sure that it's not too long. If it's hanging back here, it's going to be the wrong shape. It's going to fly wrong. So I'm going to come in here. Now I'm going to switch my hand again, roll my fingertips forward, cut that part off. And here's where I come in, like right over the top. So my fingers have gone right with the hook in between. Come over. And I'm pulling with purpose every single time. So see that great dandelion kind of look in front, and I can come back a little bit. And on this one in particular, it has legs to it. You can just finish it right now and just straight up caddis without, and so you have the red and the yellow, gives that little bit of a break. I've gone into this one before too. So I have, and I apologize, usually I have little packs of it. So I use just these micro legs. You can use a lot of variations on ones. I like the white micro legs for almost everything on this. So laying in the legs, because I came in and I put about 4 wraps in here. So it gave it a nice little section that's flat. But I'm going to take the legs. I'm going to go between myself and the camera, come back towards me. And I'm able to pull these in, and you can position the legs anywhere. If I wanted it up here, I could go up here. It's all about your thread control and bringing it right in. And then I can go 2 wraps, and usually 1 up, 1 back, and that'll get that kind of nice little V with the legs. The next portion of it, as I come over the top on this, can do the same thing, but I'm going to come around. And you can see came around that, and I want to position that in. So if I went here, it would go there. If I go right here on my 45, so it's directly across, I can let go of that. And what I want to do is then come in and just kind of split. Right. So I want to take those same wraps. And on this part, you can cut the legs now. You can pull them up. You can kind of guess. I leave them long because I will cut on the water and just when I see it. On this, as far as a whip finish, yep, I've got plenty of clearance here. I could go all the way here. I could do my 1/2 inch. I could, but I've got the total clearance on this, and I'll switch mine right here. So you see that straight V? I'm just going to go ahead and lay the whip finish right in there. Keeps the pressure off right from that connection. So I can come around, grab, just make sure you're clearing everything on your triangle. Come around, drop it, and pull. You're done. And that's a yellow Sally. So it's a real quick one. And again, leave it longer till you get out. What I like with that is the part where when you get to this bottom, and if it's already covering too much and you don't like that, but you do have that red and the yellow and the separation. I don't know that it does anything for the fish. I just like to fish this fly. So I am not even giving you any excuses on it. It's one of my favorites to fish and to tie. And then my other ones go into the double wings and all the other stuff. As far as I love, the bigger the better on these styles. But yeah,
Size hook is that,
I'll be
Amy?
fishing these.
What size should we be bringing down tomorrow or Wednesday?
I would say anything from your slump busters and a lot of lead. I put one of my kits together upstairs, and I went everything from almost 1/0 all the way down to 18s.
Okay.
It just, I mean, we're just gonna be throwing to see if we get, but you can pick up a couple eddies here and there. And Bennett, the best part is it goes up, it goes down. And we won't get crystal clear gin like we would in the summer, but it'll still fish, and there's still thousands of fish in there. And by the way, anybody wants to come out too. So I think they're adding in a couple thousand fish on Friday night. We should do okay.
Yep.
It is a trout park, but it's all good on that. So should be great. But yeah, anything. And John, if you don't have it, others of us do. We'll
Yeah.
make sure we'll get you away from your Toyota rod. We'll give you some other weight.
I think I'm bringing
But,
down enough fly tying equipment there, not equipment, but fly tying materials to tie just about any fly in the world. So
Slump buster, those other leeches that I was doing, and add some weight. I actually put more split shot in mine, and then I've got a sinking line and I have my floating line, because I've had some of the best luck there on high water. And all of a sudden, if they can find an eddy, they still want to come up and eat whatever. And we're right smack dab in spring.
Yeah.
And I had a mayfly on the screen door. Like we are way too early. Why do we have
Where do you fish at when you go to Bennett?
my favorite is always the fast water. So I'm always underneath the hatchery office, right where it
Yep.
comes off that spillway. I love it. I fished all parts of it, and I like all of it. But for me, I love fast water.
Is that where the dam is?
you can't fish there. You can't fish there. That's my spot.
No, you have a bloody ear to prove it. It's not your spot.
You know,
So,
Amy, the most effective fly or fishing material is what Mick gave me, and it worked great in the quarry. Just wonderful.
Oh, the Bonnie cord.
dynamite,
Oh, my
Oh, yeah. You got,
dynamite.
dynamite.
Back to his dynamite stories.
yep. If you look, even says fish finder on it. We got it for him.
So,
Bring it back up towards you. There you go. While
there you go.
we were at Montauk, I saw that and I was like, gotta get that for Walt. So
We need some dynamite. Well, so anybody else have anything for their Bennett excursion?
just had a
And I know
question.
we've kind of singled out folks who have no idea what we're talking about. Bennett Spring is one of our state parks, by the way, as we did. And yes, we do have our casting challenge competition happening on Thursday, the 21st, and then Vets Fish Free. So we get 5 whole days with each other. We might not be on next Monday. That's all I have to say. We might not be on here.
Yeah,
I'll
I had a
make sure.
question on the free fishing, that waives both the state license as well as the park fee, so you don't need either one.
that's correct.
Nothing. Yep, nothing on Saturday. And Missouri is really good about between the disability and when you come into the park, or if you have any questions. I think, John, you were looking up that stuff too, not to put you on the spot, but I thought you were looking that up too, because there were some things that you can actually get the exemption. Just have it on your phone.
From what I have found, of course, I was strictly looking for non-resident. But yeah, if you're, I think the rules down there are 60% disability, then you're 100% free.
Yep.
Yep.
You can get a free fishing license, but that has, not non-residents, unfortunately.
Well,
So,
but Roger he's in Illinois coming over. And so I know from non-resident on that side. Now, the other catch is that you do to have any trout in your possession. And this is a place that you would want to catch and keep and eat them because it's nice and clean. And but if you're going to have any in possession, you do have to have the Missouri trout stamp in that. And then the trout tag, which is $4 just to fish there. And then, but it's no limit. You can keep catching and releasing all day. You don't have to keep a certain number if you want to just keep letting them go. If not, there's several of us who like to eat them, but you can only be in possession. You can only have 8 in your possession, within your party. So definitely check on that. Now it's different because of the number of days you might be down there. So anyway, check the laws. But it's fairly easy.
And one
Yeah.
other thing to remember is if you stringer 4, you're allowed 4, you are done fishing.
Done.
If you want to continue fishing, you keep 3 on your springer or stringer. And then when you are done, you catch your 4th and you leave. You cannot continue fishing with 4 on the stringer.
And don't go change your shirt because it doesn't work in the
Yeah.
park. Yeah.
And I'll tell you though,
Don't go
the fishing license in Missouri, even for a non-resident, is really inexpensive. I think it's only $49
For
For
the
a
year, I
non-resident.
think.
annual fishing.
For a
license.
year.
Yeah, for a
Yeah, that's-
year. Yeah, so, you know, you add that to the $5, the $4 park fee, man, that's a cheap weekend.
Yeah,
And I think it's something too where it, you know, our state parks are not, they get 1%. They get 1% of 1 penny on our taxes. It's crazy. It's anyway, it is unreal what they do with their budgets and all of that. So I appreciate this year we couldn't get in over at Bennett for our lodging. So we're over at Sand Spring, but I'm okay with that. They've been really super to work with and we're supporting the community. But it should, and again, it's only a 12-hour drive for some of you folks in Colorado to come
Yeah.
join us.
Hey, I'll tell you what, if you're from Colorado, come on down. We'll caravan. I'll meet you in Council Bluffs.
We can even put you in a hotel. We have meal tickets. And I mean, it is the deal.
I think you
So,
got an
yeah,
open room now, haven't you, Amy?
yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I do. No, I'm sorry to hear that cancellation, but
too,
yes,
but-
I do. I do have, and actually everybody who's going to be down there is on single rooms right now. So everybody will get their own room, believe it or not. So how strange is that? But it's all good. It's all, you know, just a few little switch ups, but that happens with every event that you plan.
yep.
So
And
come on, Jim. You're only 6 hours from Omaha. Just swing on in and let's go down.
yep, carpool.
There you
We
go.
won't even make you stay in John's tent, his new tent. We'll actually give you a hotel room
Oh,
and a t-shirt.
a t-shirt.
Yep.
We have t-shirts.
Yeah,
I
but I will
can't- I
make it, I
can't-
will make you use a Tenkara rod though. I'm sorry.
All right, all.
Jim,
Well, thanks
hold on,
for-
one second. 1 second, hold on. I did get a bunch of donations and there are several fly rods that are older, I'm guessing 70s, 80s. It's a lot of fiberglass. And they were donated to me to give out to veterans. So I will have several of these rods and some of the reels are really neat. Some of them are the automatic ones.
Ooh.
I don't plan on using these and they wanted them to go out to the vets. So I have them at my camper. If you guys want to swing by, I will be in spot 117. Look through them if you want them. If not, come Saturday, that's going to be at the give out table as well. There's a lot of rod holders and all that. If you could use it, please, grab one. And they're neat looking reels on these where it's almost you'd want to use them for a decoration. I mean, there are some beautiful rods. They're older, but some neat stuff there. So if you're interested, let me know and come on by spot 117 and take a look at what I have. And whatever isn't grabbed by our group, I'll put it out on Saturday for other veterans be able to use. So
Sweet.
In the same vein,
Yeah.
I'm coming down with two, I think they're 40 quart totes. I mean, they're huge. They're about 4 feet by 2 feet by 3 feet, full of fly tying materials that were donated to us by the Nebraska Fish and Game Association. So I'll be in campsite 518 of the primitive section. I do have lights. So, and I'll have it, that they're Coleman lanterns. They work. So I will have that with you. And so anybody interested in, I mean, there's things like full chicken skins and I don't know, there's stuff up there. I don't even know what it is.
that's the same too. So, trailer pickup is tomorrow. I think it's 12-foot something. So anyway, Steve and I did our due diligence with cleaning out a third, no, not very much of my basement. Same thing, like what Mick said, we have rods, we have full kits, rods, reels, fly tying, vices. These are all donated from families who only wanted them to go to veterans. We are not, none of this is a fundraiser for us. It's all
Yeah.
just available. And so one of the things too, as far as we have some programs who don't have some of the supplies, and since we're going to see everybody on Wednesday and Thursday, go through, we've got the trailer and different things too going through. And after that, and I think we stopped counting at like 8 sets of boots, 8 sets of waders. Yeah, we have more than we could ever even wish or ask for. And all of it's in great shape, because it wouldn't have come in my house. You guys heard my mouse story already. Yeah, it's all in great shape.
Yeah, I
And
don't want to
then,
keep any of my stuff. It's going, so.
Yep.
you know,
So,
if you
yeah,
can use it, take it.
we'll plan on kind of coordinating, because I think all the programs are bringing in what they need to swap out. And then anything else goes up on Saturday, Bets Fish Free. In the past, we've had as many as, I think, 6 tables, and then we had 2 full tables of just flies. I put together an entire one of those, from Harbor Freight, of just flies that I've donated. I don't even know where they came from, and that's not including what's in the kits. But yeah, come out, and it is something where just spreads a good word on us. Just it's kind of cool. So anyway, on that part, it's dinner time. I got a long 2 days ahead, and anybody who is traveling down, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. I'll be at the hotel or at the Sand Spring Resort. It sounds so fancy, right? But I'll be there getting folks in with their meal tickets and stuff. And I know both Mick and John, you guys are in campsites and stuff too. We'll catch up. Everybody's got
Yep.
my phone number. And we'll get it going. Scott, we will see you Friday night, I think, on this. Right?
Yes, ma'am, about 7:30, I think.
Okay. Yep,
Cool.
just give me a call as you're getting closer, as you stop. Stop at the gas station that's on your right-hand side, just as you're getting out of Lebanon. I think it's Fastgo something. Do you know what that is, Mick?
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's a fast go, but if he wants to go through Lebanon,
Not the come and go, not the come and go. They have one
Yeah.
bathroom, not the come and go.
okay.
Go to the next one through the stoplight. You'll either get an option to go straight or go right, and you want to go straight and then turn in that gas station. I'll take a picture and send it back, so you guys all have the right gas station. It's awesome. And they have great egg rolls, by the way, if you're hungry. But yeah, come on in. When you get closer, just give it one of us a call, and we'll kind of walk you in and head right on up to Sand Spring.
okay,
And There's
sounds
a
good.
come and go and there's a break time.
Break time. That's what it is.
Break time.
It's the break time.
Yeah.
Break time. Clean, very nice people. Clean. So, anyway,
Yeah, I would agree. The
Yes,
come and
I'm
go.
just
is
saying.
bad.
Amy, I get it.
I'm just saying, you're coming off the highway. That's a good thing to see. So, but Walt, if you can get out, Terry, if you're able to get out, I'd love to see you. Not, we understand too, but we understand, and thanks for everything you're doing on the side to help out folks too. Appreciate it.
And I'm in spot 117 if you need us. And so I'm out there. We have full hookups. So if you need anything, we're there.
I thought you were camping. It sounds like you're carrying your house to your campsite.
I've got a nice house with a big queen size bed, an air conditioner, a heater, whatever I need, TV.
How many beds you got in there?
What?
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him, Mick.
Don't tell him that.
Hey, I just bought one of those new military sleeping bag systems, the 3-bag systems. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the weather's going to be like down there. It's every time I read the forecast, it changes. So, and I did not buy a heater this time, Amy. I'm going to wait until later on this fall.
We'll get you covered. We're okay on that. And the only thing is I can guarantee you at least Yeah, your tent's gonna go well. And those sleeping bags are amazing. Do you
I
have
think-
a sleeping pad? Do you have a
Mm.
sleeping pad though? Are you doing cot or are you doing ground?
Oh, come on, I'm 76 years old. Of course I'm doing a cot.
Okay, do you have the,
Hit the ground for when I was younger.
Hey, Amy,
yes, sir.
is Omar the tent maker gonna be down there? Cause I need some waiters. Omar the tent maker, no,
I don't know.
What size are you, Walt?
I don't know.
I'm like triple X Husky.
Yeah,
Well, I think I got you beat, Mick.
I don't think
Walt's got
so.
Big, Walt is Bigfoot. Look for Bigfoot.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna do anything other than end this call with, I had a gentleman that I was lining up with his Freedom Ranch nomination and he's actually driving in. So it's a completely different conversation, when they're so
Gotcha.
close to Freedom Ranch. And we were talking and I said, well, you're coming in with your own personal vehicle. I said, load it down with whatever you need. And he said, I think I will. And then as we started talking a little bit more and I said, but if you don't feel like it, we've got everything at the ranch. You need, he goes, I wear size 15 wading boots.
Holy jeez.
ooh,
Wow.
And I said, and all I said was, load it up. Just
Load it up.
load your vehicle. I had absolutely like no comment back. I'm going, oh, I can guarantee you we have some great sizes, but I'm thinking if he's saying size 15 wading boot, I mean, that's got to be almost a size like 18 because you'll like jam your toes in there to make fishing work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, and I said, well, just load up what you need in your car. And then I was like dumbfounded. Anyway, so yes, we will, we're going to figure out what to do with you, Walt, because, I figured out when I held up a pair of waders this weekend and I thought somebody donated to me a youth small. So they're coming to Bennett. I don't know what to do with that stuff, but they're coming to Bennett.
Have any
And if nothing else,
female vets?
well, no, they're youth small. I mean, they came up to like,
Oh,
if
like
Amy
weight.
can fit in it,
Youth small.
I'm sorry.
Those were made for the tunnel rats.
Okay. One way,
I'm
right?
like, I held these up and I actually thought they were kind of waiter pants. And I'm like, but there's no belt. And I kept holding them up. I kept looking at them. I'm like, oh no, they're youth small. So if we don't end up using it, yeah, it's going over to the Haven since they run a Mayfly. they'll
Yeah.
get all of our stuff. So, all right, all travel safe and thanks for a great call. Appreciate everybody. See you, and we'll see you next
Thank
Monday
you.
if we don't all kill each other on the trip.
Night,
yeah.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, take lights off.
Thanks, Walt.
Take care now.
Take care.
See you, Mick.
See ya.